Vulnerability is one of the sexiest qualities and one of the sexiest traits about a woman, and it's just magnetic and it's alluring. Now, feminine energy women are vulnerable by nature. Now, this is extremely attractive to a man that is in his masculine energy, or if you're looking to attract a man that's in his masculine energy, because he is not capable of being vulnerable to the extent that a feminine woman is. And the reason for this is that masculine men are providers, they're protectors, and when we look back into evolution, they're hunters. And so it's not a safe space for a man, a masculine man, to be vulnerable. And so when he's with a woman that is in her feminine energy, what happens is he is able to now dip into his heart, which is his vulnerability, right? He's able to be open and he can sort of let his guard down. And this is why it's extremely attractive to be with a woman that is in her feminine energy. The number one quality and the number one trait of a high quality woman and a feminine woman is her ability to be vulnerable. Now, feminine energy women are naturally vulnerable. Now, there's different contexts of vulnerability. And I'll get into a few of them in this video. Vulnerability is just the ability to be yourself without sort of having a mask on and without having all the ego programming sort of in the background and sort of leading, right? And so the reason that feminine women are able to be vulnerable and are by nature vulnerable is because they've learned to embrace their essence, and they're not moving into life with this egoic programming and this mask and this shield. They're comfortable with being themselves. They're not performing. They're not trying to please anyone. They're just themselves. And if you read my book, Secrets of the Feminine Woman, I talk about feminine energy as love. And so feminine women by nature are very loving to themselves, and they embody love. And so when we're embodying love, we already are vulnerable, right? We're showing up in the world with an open heart, and we're not afraid to show up as ourselves. And we're also not showing up in a way that is trying to get something from someone else, which is also not feminine, right? Because when we're trying to get something from someone else, by nature, we're masculine. Now, when we show up as ourselves without any sort of masks on, like, that can be very uncomfortable, right? It can be very uncomfortable to show up without any sort of mask, without being guarded, without any sort of, protection. One example of this could be, showing up on camera without a script, right? I've played around with several ideas in terms of, should I script my videos and not, and I still haven't decided, but scripting feels very uncomfortable for me because I'm very in flow, and when I script something, I feel very boxed in. It feels very rigid to me. I'm comfortable showing up as I am, and those that will resonate the most with me are also those that want to embody their feminine essence. Now, it can be uncomfortable doing that, but for me, it's really important to show up as I am, so that those of you that are also looking to embody your feminine energy can also step into that and be comfortable in that and not be so concerned with how others perceive you. Now, this is vulnerable. Even sharing this is vulnerable because I'm not showing up perfect, right? But again, feminine women are able to show up very vulnerable, and it's very attractive to masculine men. Now, masculine men generally are not able to be vulnerable. And the reason for this is, they are men. So they are protectors, providers. Back in the day, they were hunters. It's very weak in the perception of a masculine man, in his viewpoint, to show up completely unguarded, right? It's not safe to do that. And it makes sense because, in his DNA, he needs to protect, provide, and needs to be strong, right? That's the conditioning of the masculine man. And, for good cause, because ultimately he's the protector of the family. So if he's wearing his heart on his sleeve to everyone, that's very uncomfortable for the masculine man, and it makes sense for that role. Now, in a relationship with a woman that's in her feminine, why she is so attractive and magnetic to him is because with her, he feels safe. He feels safe to reveal himself. He feels safe to reveal his heart. He feels vulnerable with her. And that allows him to experience another side of him, which is his feminine energy. So both men and women have masculine and feminine energies. Depending on your dominant essence, you'll carry one energy more than the other, and hopefully your romantic partner will bring out more of your core essence when you're with them. Now, a man that is in his masculine energy is extremely attracted to a woman that's in her feminine energy because one, he feels more like a man, so he feels more of his masculinity, but he's also able to tap into his feminine side, which is his feelings and his emotions. And we all want to experience all of who we are in the world. We want to be our whole full selves, especially in a relationship. And so if a man is not able to experience feeling his heart when he's with a woman, he's going to feel disconnected from her, because ultimately he's also disconnected with himself. Now, it's really important as a woman that wants to embrace her feminine energy to practice being open. And I did a post about this in my Facebook and my Instagram. So, make sure to follow me there. It's not in the times where life is great and everything is dandy that we want to practice being open, although we want to start there because we want a safe space, right? When we really start to embody our feminine energy, right, we're able to be open even in scenarios that feel unsafe, right? So on YouTube, without a script, kind of not knowing what I'm doing, this next level of my business, kind of figuring it out, I feel comfortable within myself to show myself in this way without everything having to be perfect, right? That's me being vulnerable, and kind of opening myself up to even criticism. I'm okay with that because I'm good with myself, right? Another way to be open and to practice sort of embodiment, and this takes time, is during conflict with a masculine man. Now, there's going to be tension in a masculine feminine relationship because in a relationship, it's not just you and the other person, it's also your past, your trauma, your ego. So, things will come up. That's completely fair and normal. And as an empowered feminine woman, you just don't take shit, right? So if your partner unconsciously or unintentionally, because it's always going to be unintentional, becomes defensive or his own reactions get triggered, which is normal, a feminine woman is really not going to take that, right? And there'll be conflict because now she's in her masculine having to protect herself from him, right? Which again, there's nothing wrong with this. It's normal. How we diffuse a situation like that is a woman in her feminine energy is vulnerable and open enough to share her feelings, experience the plethora of emotions that she's going to experience, which she is. She's going to get mad, she's going to be sad, she's going to be upset. There's a whole range of emotions that feminine women experience. And again, this comes from the healthier feminine energy aspects. This is not, I'm always feeling bad about myself and I always feel bad and I want someone else to make me feel good. No, this is, I feel good about myself, I love myself, I'm in union with someone that's also loves themselves. And sometimes things are going to happen where someone is not going to treat me the way that I treat myself, and it's going to piss me off. That's normal. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, a feminine woman is open within herself. So in my post or my reel, I talked about you don't need to necessarily be open with your partner in these situations because it doesn't feel safe. And naturally, as a woman that's in her feminine, she'll close. So if you're in your feminine energy and you're embodied in your feminine energy, when you're not being treated the way that you treat yourself and the way that you respect yourself, you're not going to be open, meaning your natural inclination is going to be closed, right? If you're not treated well and you're open and you're not turned off, those are signs of low insecurity and abandonment of self and insecurity and low self-esteem. When we're not treated well and we're open, meaning we're still trying to make something work with someone, that is not coming from an open place in terms of our heart, that's coming from our wounding. It's very different from being open to our masculine partner once our emotions have ceased and we know that our partner also comes from a loving place and he doesn't mean the things he does, as well as we don't when we're in our heightened emotional state. Very different. They're very different. Now, when there's conflict, when things are not going well, when you're experiencing discomfort in the environment, things are not going your way, you also want to continue to practice being open within yourself and not shutting the world out. We don't want to close our heart to the world no matter what happens to us. Now, this can feel very uncomfortable to hear, and I understand this, but I've gone through a lot in my life. I've had a lot of painful experiences in my life. I lived on the streets. I attempted suicide. I had very difficult situations that happened in my life. And even in the terms of the way that I'm communicating, I'm still open. So even though bad things will happen to you and you'll go through difficult times in your life, you want to get help for that and you want to get support from that, but you don't want to close yourself to the world. So when we close ourselves to the world, we are victims. We now victimize ourselves. And that is the most disempowered state to be in. And what happens is, not only do you shut yourself off, you shut men away from you. If you're in a relationship, you're closing yourself off from him. You're closing yourself off of other men, but you're also closing yourself off from the universe and the world giving to you, because the universe cannot give to you if you are not giving to yourself. And in this situation, and when I'm talking about vulnerability and openness during difficult times, you're not giving yourself the opportunity to be open with yourself and your emotions and your feelings. So we always want to practice within our nervous system, opening up to our heart and, listening to our needs and listening to our own emotions. And this is the practice of self-awareness and self-development. And when we're able to do this, eventually what will happen is we'll attract a man that is also going to be able to be open and extremely attracted to you and your vulnerability, even when you're not perfect, because there's no such thing as perfection. But if you are in shame of your emotions, you are not going to be able to be open to another man in a healthy way. Now, I hope this was helpful. It's been a long time since I've done a video, and I'm going to continue to do more videos. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and follow me on all my other social media channels, because I tend to post everywhere and about, on different subjects and things like that. Also, make sure to subscribe to my website. I have a lot of blogs up there that I've been posting as of late, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.